So it is now 5:01 and I'm calling the policy committee meeting to order. And let's see, the first thing on the agenda item is to elect a new chair. Can I have some?
I'll nominate Heather.
Second.
Okay.
I'll accept.
Sorry?
I said, I guess I'll accept.
Okay. Any discussions? All right. All in favor? Okay, unanimous. It's your meeting.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Angel. We have only one policy to review. Mr. Dawson will be joining us briefly. It's policy EEAJ, operation of vehicles for transportation of students by staff.
All right, let me see if I can put this up on the screen on the video.
Ooh.
Well, no, it's not a screen here.
Okay.
It's on the, it's like if you're at home.
Okay.
So the only changes are the highlighted areas, is that right?
But there's also things scratched out too, Jim, so that was
Yeah.
my question.
Yeah.
The scratched out and the highlighted.
Okay.
I also had a question that I had emailed Mr. Dawson as well, is do we have a checklist for them to check the van before they get in?
We're gonna have a checklist.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, what we're planning on is having like a training video. So those people who are gonna be driving the vans have gone through a training video, and then they're gonna have a checklist before every use of the video.
Okay.
Question or comment. I think there should be a checklist to make sure that the people who are going to be driving have met all the requirements.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
there'll be that too, right? Because there's insurance liability here.
Yes. Basically, the insurance is going to be covered by Primex, which is our overall insurance for the district.
Right.
And
There must be conditions to that, though.
it's not as restrictive as you.
It's not like being a bus driver.
Right, exactly.
And they're
Okay.
comfortable with volunteers, like
Yeah,
like,
they're
that follows within our specs of
right.
Primark.
Yeah, it's gonna, like, if we're gonna be doing volunteers, it's gonna be a volunteer that, of course, we vetted.
Yeah,
They've had to go through background checks. We're gonna make sure like their driving record is clean. Yes, we're gonna go through checklists to make sure that everything is copacetic for that particular individual. And they're going to be, it's only gonna be a certain group of individuals that can drive vehicles. It's not gonna be like, oh, well, we need a driver for today, and it can be anyone in the district. It's not going to work that way.
Right, and who's going to be in charge of that?
Well, I think initially it's going to be Bob, who just walked in. Bob, the question is,
Right.
I had to move hurdles around, that's all.
the question is going to be who's in charge of it. Okay, so a majority of the usage could be done by athletics. All right. Some of the usage is going to be done by special education. All right. So I only anticipate 2 individuals maybe for special education. And then for athletics, it's going to be whoever Bob is going to choose. I'm going to make sure that since Bob is going to be the one who's going to be using them the most, or athletics is going to use them the most, he's going to hang on to the keys. If someone needs it, they're going to go through him.
So some assistant something or other isn't going to say, oh, we need a driver, you drive, here's the keys.
Right. It's
Right.
not going to be like that.
Yeah.
No, it's got to be someone from an approved list.
Yeah. And the list will be run by the insurance company. So
What I think what's going to be more important is, okay, number one, the insurance company is okay with what we're doing.
Okay.
And what they're going to be looking at is what is our training program? What's our vetting program? And really it's the sufficiency of all of that.
Yep.
If there was an event, they're going to evaluate that to make sure that that's been crossed out as a factor.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
So we just got to make sure that that's in place.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good.
So I know we're doing this for a cost saving. What is the estimated cost savings for us to do this versus utilizing the buses? Do you have an idea?
No, I don't. And I think what I've said before is if there's going to be a cost savings, it's going to be marginal. The issue is the likelihood of getting buses We've been having problems in the last couple of years getting buses. He had a problem last week getting a bus.
Today, not so much today, but killing off the early release days is death. Bad. Because I cram a lot of stuff on Wednesdays because I can get out of here at 1:45 with drivers coming off the regular routes.
Is your mic off?
Yeah, this is, yeah, I'm talking.
So it's not like out there.
No, it would work though. The system's that good, actually. I think I could actually call an event from out here. So a situation like today, we had multiple teams going out intentionally on a Wednesday so that I knew I would have the buses for it. Like the middle school teams play at 3:30. A lot of high school matches, we can move back in the spring to start late, like at 5 o'clock. We can play baseball games at 5 o'clock like we're doing today in Ware. And they probably rolled in there at 5:05 for a 5 o'clock game because I can't get the bus until, and that's, you know, even a 1:45, actually 1:45 we played at 4, but that's been an issue for us. And in the fall if I have a girls and boys middle school soccer team, boys and girls soccer teams, football going out on Monday for JV games a couple times a year, if I can pick off some bus rides for things like taking 2 vans and sending them out with that middle school soccer team, as opposed to getting a bus, it really will work way, way, way better for us to do that.
So this is really about assuring that you have the transportation that you need.
As much as we can.
Yeah.
The delta between what I would normally spend on buses in the fall and what I had to spend on coach buses to get our athletes to be able to play was $10,000 just in that one season. And it's the worst season because in the spring, I can start games at 5 o'clock. You can't do that on October 1st. You know, we can maybe get a field hockey game in starting at 5, but then you lose the JV game that's supposed to come after. And that's the problem. So we've been doing some crazy things like middle school track, going to Hudson, dropping off the middle school track team, and then they run the boys tennis teams, been sitting on that bus out to Conval, and we send another bus out to pick them up. We got bailed out this week by Seacoast Learning Collaborative, is letting us use a couple buses and things like that. So we've been, you know, trying to avoid using other buses, but it's hard. You know, we're going to use a lot of Saturdays this year. Our girls soccer team is moving to Division III, which increases their travel a lot. The distances they have to travel. So I'm going to move a lot of their games. They're going to play a lot on Saturday so I can get them there. Saturday is a piece of cake. But this is really going to help us for things like middle school teams, cross country, bowling, even bass fishing. We rented an SUV for, you know, $400 to take 4 kids bass fishing.
Those 4 kids had fun though.
They had a blast. They didn't catch it. They had a blast. Going up
I
there.
think one of my friend's kids was one of them. So.
So I guess I want to ask you where your favorite bass fishing spot is.
I sat on the dock and watched people leave, and then they come back 3 hours later and say, "Hey, we didn't catch anything," and they swap it out. I bought everybody lunch, and then they disappear for 3 hours.
If you have one, you're not supposed to say.
No, we won't. No, I wouldn't. I don't care.
I don't see this bus driver shortage changing next year either. Maybe it'll get slightly better, but it's not going to be.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
I don't think it's going to magically get it. It's going to take another year before stuff totally comes back, I think. So
what I'm hoping is we can recruit some people who want to just drive for athletics, because it's a different animal. I think people think bus driver, they think you're going to get sucked into driving a route, which they don't have to do if they don't want to. And the difference between putting 25 middle and high school kids or elementary kids on your bus and you're it with 25 is a lot different than you've got the boys middle school soccer team. There's 14 boys, Mike Gannon's on the bus, or the girls with whoever on the bus. And that's a much easier deal because you don't have to worry about the kids. The coaches are on the bus.
So are you asking for people under this policy to drive school buses?
No.
Okay, that's
That's a different license.
Right.
This would just be for the van. And
and
the idea is to hopefully use some in-house people, some young teachers, paraprofessionals, people like that, who are just looking for, like I talked to a teacher today and we were talking about it and I said, you can go to, you know, once your contract day ends, you're now on the clock to drive the bus. You jump in the bus and drive to the golf match. We don't want the coaches driving if we can help it. That may happen, but ideally we don't want that. And then they go up there and sit at a picnic table in the golf clubhouse and correct papers. And then they drive back. And we have a trip that costs us probably half. Right now, buses are running for a golf match. A bus would run us about $475. And I sent 12 kids to a middle school soccer game this year for over $1,000 in a coach bus because this is the only way to get them there. Because either that or cancel the game.
And sometimes you do get a full-size bus for 8 students.
Right.
6.
6,
So
okay?
are there-
And that's not, you know, that's expensive.
Are there other questions about the policy itself? There was, the yellow is the changes.
Yeah, that was, I wrote it and then Matt legal lawyered it up.
Okay, and then the cross out are crossed out, right? There's some.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So there are questions about the policy?
I don't have any more questions,
Nope, no, good.
so I'll move the motion. Motion to approve.
A second.
So move the motion to the board for first read?
Yeah, right, yep.
And I'm, just so you know, I'm good through this. I can make it through this without it, so.
Well, would this be something that if it, well, it's not gonna go on the agenda tonight, would it go on the agenda next week, like?
It's on the agenda for tonight.
Oh, okay, so can we do first and we have to do a second
Well,
read?
I think we were hoping to kind of be done with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so can we potentially tonight do first and second read and then?
Yes.
It might help me with track.
okay, I'll amend my motion to be first and second read.
Okay, I'll second that amended motion.
All right, all in favor? Okay, so it will be so
Thank you.
moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am moved by your move.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dr.
I'm gonna move on now.
Have a lovely day. I don't know the next meeting date or time.
We don't have
Oh, I
one
actually
scheduled.
have the schedule here.
Oh, you do?
If somebody has a calendar, I can tell you, it's the first,
Boy, I got really confused by that.
yeah, I know.
I started putting stuff in my phone and I'm like,
So it's the first Wednesdays of the month.
which
Unless-
this is not the first one this month.
Right,
So
because
that
we're
was
So
off
June
schedule.
first.
But that's what this subcommittee meeting thing
Yeah,
says.
I like the one that Phyllis did 2 years ago when it had all the dates.
Yeah,
The dates.
oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, that's really helpful. So
Yeah.
that would be June 1st at 5 o'clock.
Okay,
Okay, anything else? Yeah,
nope.
so I adjourn this meeting at 5:13. Thank you.